Good morning students. Welcome into the 12th science chemistry class. In the last lecture of the chapter solutions, we learned the formula to calculate the molar mass of the solute from that of the osmotic pressure. Now we know the formula, that is M2 is equal to W2 RT divided by pi V, and into that pi is the osmotic pressure, V is the volume of the solution, R is the gas constant, T is the temperature in Kelvin, and W2 is the mass or weight of the solute, and from that we can calculate the molar mass of the solute. Now this is the problem based on, that is, calculation of the molar mass from that of the osmotic pressure. Now in problem number 2.9, what is given? What is the molar mass of solute? They ask us to calculate the molar mass of the solute if solution is prepared by dissolving 0.822 gram of it. That means weight of solute is given and solution is prepared by dissolving 0.822 gram of solute in 300 millidecimeter cube. Millidecimeter cube means ml, milliliter. So that is the 300 milliliter or millidecimeter cube of water has an osmotic pressure of 149 mm of Hg at 298 Kelvin. The temperature is 298 Kelvin. The osmotic pressure is given 149 mm of Hg. Again they given us, that is the volume of the solution 300 millidecimeter cube, that is the ml. So solution is in this way. The formula is M2 is equal to W2 RT divided by pi V. If we substitute all the values of these quantities, then we can easily calculate the molar mass of the solute. Now let us learn here what is given. W2 is given 0.822 gram. R is given 0.08205 decimeter cube atm per Kelvin per mole. Now this is the unit of the gas constant R, decimeter cube atm per Kelvin per mole. Temperature is given 298 Kelvin. Pi, that is the osmotic pressure, is given in mm of Hg. But we want here, as the gas constants unit have the atm, so convert the millimeter into the atmosphere. So we know that 760 millimeter is equal to 1 atmosphere. So on dividing this 149 divided by 760 mm, the value of the pi, that is the osmotic pressure, is 0.196 atm. Now we convert this osmotic pressure from mm into atm. Now this is 0.196 atm. The volume is given 300 ml, that is milli-decimeter cube, that is ml. That means volume is 0.3 decimeter cube. Divide this 300 by 1000, then you obtain, because 1000 ml is equal to 1 decimeter cube, and therefore on dividing this 300 by 1000, we obtain V is equal to 0.3 decimeter cube. Now only substitute all these values. Now you can here also write down the units of each quantity, and regarding the same unit we obtain this, that is the unit, that is the gram per mole for this solute. So here M2 is equal to, what is W2? 0.822 gram. So gram, I here only write down then the units. Then R is given in, that is decimeter cube atm per Kelvin per mole, and temperature is in Kelvin, and again this divided by the atm into decimeter cube. Now see here how this unit is obtained. Now this value 342 is obtained by multiplying all these above quantity and divided by the multiplication of these two quantity. You can solve this by using the logarithmic table. On seeing the logs of all the three, add the logs of the above three quantities and again see the log of these two quantity, add also the log of them and then that is you can then subtract the log of these two quantity from the log of these three quantity and then see the antilog. Now you obtain this value 342. Now how the unit is, now see here, decimeter cube, atm get cancelled, per Kelvin get cancelled. What is remaining? Only the gram per mole. So the unit is gram per mole, that is the molar mass of that of the solute. In this way we solve the problem which is based on the osmotic pressure and they ask us to calculate the molar mass of the solute. Now student, let us learn about the reverse osmosis. Now here on blackboard there is the figure for the reverse osmosis. Now see, this is the reverse osmosis. Now osmosis we know. In osmosis what is there? Osmosis is a flow of solvent through a semi-permeable membrane into the solution. That is, flow of the pure solvent into the solution through the semi-permeable membrane is called as the osmosis. But in reverse osmosis, exactly opposite is happened. If we apply the pressure to the solution side which is larger than that of the osmotic pressure, then if we apply the larger pressure than that of the osmotic pressure to the solution side, what happened? Reverse osmosis is there. That means the solvent molecules from that solution pass through the pure solvent, through the semi-permeable membrane. Now student, in this way we can purify the sea water also and we obtain the drinking water from that of the sea water by using the process of reverse osmosis. Now see, here is the figure. Now here this is the semi-permeable membrane and the two different liquids, that is the fresh water and salty water, are separated by the semi-permeable membrane. Now here we know that the pressure, that is the osmotic pressure is there. We can calculate the osmotic pressure when there is the equilibrium is established. So if we apply the pressure which is greater than the osmotic pressure by using this, that is the piston, to the solution side, what happened? The solvent molecules from the solution side passes to the fresh water, that is the pure solvent. And in this way we obtain the water, fresh water, from this outlet. Now this is the reverse osmosis. So what is given? The definition of reverse osmosis. The direction of osmosis can be reversed by applying a pressure larger than the osmotic pressure. Now you know the direction of the only the osmosis, that is from solvent to solution. But if we apply the larger pressure, larger than that of the osmotic pressure, then the direction of the flow of the solvent molecules can be reversed. So the direction of osmosis can be reversed by applying a pressure larger than the osmotic pressure. The pure solvent then flows from the solution into the through the semi-permeable membrane that is into the solvent, to the pure solvent. The pure solvent then flows from solution into the pure solvent again and through the semi-permeable membrane, and this phenomena is called reverse osmosis. So what is the reverse osmosis? The direction of osmosis can be reversed by applying a pressure larger than the osmotic pressure. The pure solvent then flows from solution into the pure solvent through the semi-permeable membrane. This phenomenon is called as the reverse osmosis. In figure, fresh water and salty water are separated by the semi-permeable membrane. When pressure larger than osmotic pressure is applied to the solution, pure water from the salty water passes into the fresh water through the semi-permeable membrane. Now this is about the reverse osmosis. Now let us learn the colligative property of the electrolytes. We learned the colligative property of non-electrolytes, that are elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, lowering of vapor pressure, this osmotic pressure. Now in short, we have to learn here the colligative properties of electrolytes. Now non-electrolyte and electrolyte you know very well. The non-electrolytes cannot be ionized into cation and anion or positive ion and negative ion, but the electrolytes are ionized into the positive ion and negative ion. So what is the difference between the colligative property, how the colligative property then for that of the electrolyte, let us learn now. Now student, you can take the screenshot for writing your notes. So write down the notes into the notebook and try to solve such type of numericals from the exercise so that you have the confidence about that, because such type of numericals are always asked into the examination. Now we have to learn the colligative property of electrolytes. Pay attention students on the blackboard again. Now we are learning the colligative property of electrolytes. Now what is the difference between the colligative property of electrolytes and non-electrolytes, or what is the relation between them? The relation between the colligative property of electrolytes and non-electrolytes is given by the Van 't Hoff factor I. Now how it is? Let us learn. The colligative properties of electrolytes are greater. The colligative properties of electrolytes are always greater than the colligative properties of non-electrolytes. Then what is the reason behind that? We know that the colligative properties depends upon the number of particles of the solute present into the solution. And we know that the non-electrolyte, after dissolving into the solvent, they do not dissociate. But the electrolytes always dissociate into two or more ions. As a result, the number of particles increases, and as the number of particles increases, consequently that is the colligative property also increases in case of the electrolytes. So that is the reason colligative properties of electrolytes are greater than the colligative property of non-electrolyte. They may be asked you in the examination, give reason. Because electrolyte dissociate into two or more ions when dissolved in water, and colligative property depends on the number of particles. As the number of particles increases, colligative properties also increases. So the colligative property of the electrolytes are always larger or greater than the colligative properties of the non-electrolytes. But molar mass of electrolyte solute, the molar mass electrolyte solute are found to be lower. The molar mass of electrolyte solute are found to be lower than the formula mass, because in the formula of all the colligative properties, molar mass is inversely proportional to any colligative property. If we see all the, that is the formulas of colligative property, that is the delta TB is equal to, into that in the formula of calculation of the elevation in boiling point, the molar mass of the solute is always inversely proportional to that of the delta B. Again in the formula of the freezing point depression, into that also molar mass of the solute is inversely proportional to the freezing point depression. And in osmotic pressure also the molar mass of the solute is inversely proportional to the osmotic pressure, and in the lowering of vapor pressure also there. So all these colligative properties are inversely proportional to the molar mass of the solute. So though the that is the colligative properties of electrolyte increases, but the molar mass of the solute which is calculated is, that is the lower than that of the formula mass. Now, how the non-electrolyte colligative property and electrolytes colligative property related with each other, let us learn by the factor, and the name of that factor is Van 't Hoff's factor. Now see students on the blackboard here, we are now learning the Van 't Hoff's factor. Now this Van 't Hoff factor is denoted by small I. Van 't Hoff factor is used to obtain colligative properties of electrolyte by using the relations of non-electrolyte from that of the Van 't Hoff factor. Now Van 't Hoff factor is nothing but it gives the relations of the calculation of the colligative property from that of the non-electrolytes and electrolytes. Now see, Van 't Hoff factor is used to obtain the colligative properties of electrolytes by using the relations of non-electrolyte. Relations of non-electrolyte means all this elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, lowering of vapor pressure and osmotic pressure. Now this Van 't Hoff factor is defined as, how the Van 't Hoff factor is defined? So Van 't Hoff factor is defined as the ratio, it is the ratio of colligative property of electrolyte solution divided by colligative property of non-electrolyte solution of same concentration. So the ratio of colligative property of electrolyte solution divided by the colligative property of non-electrolyte solution of the same concentration is called as the Van 't Hoff factor. That is the ratio of the colligative property of the electrolyte solution divided by the colligative property of the non-electrolyte solution of the same concentration is called as the Van 't Hoff factor, and it is denoted by small I. Now this I is equal to colligative property of electrolyte solution divided by colligative property of non-electrolyte solution of same concentration. Now in this way I is given. I is equal to, that is the Van 't Hoff factor is equal to depression in freezing point delta Tm divided by delta Tm n for non-electrolytes. So depression in freezing point of electrolyte divided by depression of freezing point of non-electrolytes of the same concentration can give the I. Similarly, elevation in boiling point of electrolyte divided by elevation in boiling point of non-electrolyte, that is the delta Tb divided by delta Tbn, n for non-electrolyte. Now that is the lowering of vapor pressure of electrolyte divided by lowering of vapor pressure of non-electrolyte, that is delta P divided by delta Pl, and osmotic pressure of the electrolyte divided by osmotic pressure of non-electrolyte, pi divided by pi m. Now in this way we can calculate the Van 't Hoff factor. Again, Van 't Hoff factor in case of the molar mass can be calculated as I is equal to m theoretical divided by m observed. In this way also we can calculate that is the Van 't Hoff factor. Now this is about the relation between the colligative properties of electrolyte and non-electrolyte, which is given by the Van 't Hoff factor. So student, if you understand all these, that is the numerical based on, that is the calculation of molar mass based on the, that is osmotic pressure. Also we learn about, that is the reverse osmosis we learn. Again the colligative properties of electrolytes are how different, or how that is the larger than that of the non-electrolytes colligative property, and this, that is the Van 't Hoff factor, which gives the relation between the colligative property of electrolytes and non-electrolyte. If you understand all these things students very easily, and that is the conveniently, then you can that is share, like and subscribe this video, and also you share the link and tell the other students of the 12th science to like and subscribe this video, because students, they also can be benefited in their examination, and they will have the benefit of scoring the maximum marks in all their competitive and entrance examination. Thank you for watching this video. Now student, you can take the screenshot of this blackboard writing and write down your notes in a beautiful handwriting. Now you can take the screenshot in this way and write down the notes. Thank you, student.